I actually had a story to tell about a mysterious stranger I met at King's Cross Station in London. And but that seems like that would be kind of lugubrious at this point, so I'll just go on to another story because one of our great friends is in the audience tonight, Cynthia. And see, Cynthia's just waving, and she's sitting next to my lovely wife, Gail, because she's a great friend of ours. And if this was last week at this time, you could have congratulated Gail on our 35th wedding anniversary. But we're a week late, so anyway. But thank you anyway. Yeah, so anyway, here's my fill-in story, which involves Cynthia. So she's my fact checker this evening. About 5 years ago, I joined the Lancaster Hiking Club and met Cynthia there. And one of the things, I had just come off of hiking a long thing in Spain, 150 miles on the Camino de Santiago, and Cynthia had already done that, and she's like there. So, but we're kind of the same mind on a lot of things regarding hiking. And I told her I'd like to hike the nearby Appalachian Trail Maryland section as it goes through Maryland, which is like 40, 50 miles, something like that. And Cynthia says, I've been thinking about doing that too. Let's get together a group from the club and do it. So we get together this group, and Cynthia organizes it, and I'm looking forward to this. And it turns out that there's like 4 women sign, into the club, and no males sign up for this thing. So it's just going to be me and Cynthia and 3 other ladies going out to hike this section. And so I'm kind of like, I don't know what to think. First I'm thinking like, well, I'm going to have to be a gentleman and help them along and all that kind of stuff and whatever. And so, but that's all right. I even took my backpack so I could, if they had raincoats or something, I could, help with that too. But so we get out there on this section of the Appalachian Trail, and they take off like they're sprinters out of the blocks. And I am like, I'm kind of okay with that, because they're up there, I'm behind them, and I figure like this is good. I'm enjoying the woods and stuff. And pretty soon I'm huffing and puffing, trying to keep up, and it's also a hot and humid day, and I don't do well with hot and humid, but it didn't seem to bother them at all. And we were planning, the way this broke out, it was convenient for us. We were going to do it in sections, and each night we'd go back to a hotel, spend the night, and then go do another section until we finished it. Well, the first day, just because of like where locations were where you'd get to a road or something, we were going to go past a road that was only 10 miles. It wasn't far enough for our thing, and go all the way to another one, which was 20 miles away. And 20 miles was kind of a test for me, but I figured I could do it. Wasn't sure before we started that the ladies would do it, but turns out that the ladies taught me a lesson. But when we got to the 10-mile thing, I was dead. I had already stopped for an early lunch. I asked them if it was okay if we stopped for an early lunch just because I wanted to breathe again. And then I had another stop after that to rest. And finally we got to this first 10-mile, which was kind of a bailout because we figured we could always call an Uber there and get taken back to the car or up to the hotel or something. So, I'm starting to plan this now. We get this thing, I'm just going to call the Uber. I'm holding them up, obviously. And so I get there, we get to the thing, I pull out my phone and get ready, start to make this plan. I'm like, no cell service. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is terrible. And Cynthia, fortunately, is a resourceful person. She's thinking about this. And there's this group of people that are also on the side of the road looking like they're kind of having a picnic. There's, 8 to 10 of them. And there's like a couple of 40-year-olds. There's a few 20-ish-year-old looking. And then there's a couple of kids, probably like between 8, 12, somewhere in that time range. And Cynthia goes up and starts talking to them about, do they know how we could get a ride or where everything is? And it turns out they're there in a pickup truck, like all 8 of them. And they said, well, you can get a ride with us back to where we're going. I think we're heading back in that same direction anyway. And so Cynthia says, oh, it's okay. I got you a ride back to the car. And I said, that's great, and she introduced me to these people, and they were having this picnic along the side of the road. And, they said, well, you'll have to sit in the back with the kids because, we're going to be squeezing people into the cab in front. And I said, oh, well, that's okay. At that point, I was all right with it. And they're sitting down. I go to sit with them to be friendly. And we're talking to the guy, a few people, talking to the man, the kind of the senior guy looking in the group. And he's kind of joking around, not real sociable, but he's friendly enough. And talking about some experience. Somehow we got talking about poison ivy and poison oak and poison sumac, and I told him, I'm not really good at identifying that. I'm not sure exactly what it looks like. And he says, oh, yeah, it looks like what you're sitting in right there. And I was like, really? And I'm not even sure it was. I think he might have been playing with me, which made me even a little bit more unsure of him. And but then I was kind of like afraid to move, that I would get in more of it or whatever. And he gets up and walks over and goes and sits in his pickup truck and turns it on and proceeds to fall asleep in there. And I was kind of thinking, well, he's closest to my age, so I should kind of be hanging out with him. But anyway, I pick up my backpack and I go and take it and throw it in the back of the pickup truck. And in the back of the pickup truck, I see this big, long machete and a gun. And I thought, like, oh my gosh, who'd they leave me with? And they had something, and the like 20-year-olds had something on their T-shirt. I didn't recognize, like what it was, but it's questionable. It was something like lugubrious or something like that. That it just made me wonder, what are they talking about? I mean, what are these people all about? Well, they get done eating and they pack up, and I get to talking to some along the way. It turns out that a couple of them were through hiking the Appalachian Trail. The others lived nearby, and they came to meet them and kind of were being demonstrated how they ate on the trail. And then we're going to go back to this house to the through hikers to shower and stuff, and then continue on the trail. So they load me up in the back of the, actually, I think they let me sit in the cab. They felt sorry for me, so I squeezed in with about 4 of the others into the cab of this pickup truck, and there was a bunch of others in the back having a party. And they take me through the woods. Didn't seem like we were going the direction to my car either, which made me feel a little bit funny. And we were going deeper and deeper into the woods, and I was wondering, like, what kind of a shack are they going to be taking me to out here? There was nothing. And I was wondering if they lived in some kind of a lugubratorium where I'd be lugubriated. And but ultimately, we turned around the corner in these woods, and this like palatial place opens up. I mean, it is gorgeous. There's fountains in the front and ponds and all of this kind of stuff. And the guy pulls up to this 2-car garage, and I'm a little intimidated about how nice the house looks. And I said, well, at least they have a 2-car garage like mine. That's good. And the automatic doors open, and you look, and it's like 3 cars deep, and right behind it is this playthings. There's a big, beautiful yellow Jeep with a roll bar. There's Ski-Doos, and there's the snow version of Ski-Doos, and there's all this stuff in the garage. And then I look over to my right across, not attached to the house, is a 4-car garage doors over there. And I'm like, what are these people all about? Well, then I got a chance to talk to the guy. He had to drop the folks who were hiking off so they could do whatever. And I got to talk to them. They were going to get cleaned up, and then they were going to go to a Saturday night church service or something like that. And it turned out that they were nice, safe people. And I had misjudged these mysterious strangers, the book by the cover. But I ultimately was riding back with the guy in this beautiful Jeep, which was so much fun. And I was thinking, like, I should offer him, like, some money for gas or something, but it seems like whatever I offer him is going to be, like, insignificant. And so I asked him if I could. He said, oh, no, not at all. That's fine. It's our pleasure. And I said, well, did you say you're going to church tonight? I says, how about, I was going to have, like, I got 40 or 50 bucks here. Let me give you this $40 and put it in your church thing tonight, because you did me a good deed, so let me pass it forward so they can do something else. And he just looked at me and he goes, oh, thank you, that's great. You're one of our kind of people, you know it? And I said, yeah, well, that was great. Yeah, so anyway, that's the end of my story.